Hi there, welcome to Let's Talk Tottenham. Another wonderfully chirpy episode here after going out the Carabao Cup. Another game where we're 2-0 down or losing goals before we decide to turn up. Another game where we haven't scored in the first half. And Eric Dyer is in the World Cup squad. Good bloody God. Joined with Brian. How you doing, Brian?
That's one of the best intros I've ever heard in my life. I'm good, buddy. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, well, to say I'm a bit cheesed off, you may have been able to tell. But other than that, other than Tottenham, I'm good. But yeah, only Brian on with us today. I can't have three people on where it means I have to talk for an hour and a half about this bloody team. Bobby K in the chat. How you doing, Bobby? And Sports
Bobby, I'll call you
Capital.
after.
Yeah, and Sports Capital. How you doing, buddy?
Big up.
Please hit the like. Please hit that subscribe. Please get your comments in. Suggest feedback. Suggestions on what's going on with Tottenham and topics for discussion. Also, like I say, hit that like and subscribe and the notification bell. That means you'll be notified when we go live every Monday and Friday. Brian, as you know, Tottenham on tour. And if you don't know what is going on, he's on Tottenham on tour back. The link for that is in the description, as well as Brian's Twitter handle. And Brian will let you know what you can expect on Tottenham on tour in the next coming weeks at the end of the show. Unbelievable. 8 games since we scored in the first half. Last year, leading scorers in the league, possibly in the whole of Europe in the last 4 or 5 months or whatever it was. What's gone wrong with the attack? And not just the attack for me, it's the mindset. Look, last year, yeah, we're going to concede goals, but we're going to score them as well. This year, let's just sit back, and our defence ain't good enough to soak up pressure for even 45 minutes. Why the sudden complete change in mentality? It can't just be because Kulu was injured. And yeah, so why the sudden complete drop in mentality? And how you doing, Mark Cousins?
I'll big up, Mark.
Yeah, I know how you feel. Would say, come on, you Spurs, but can't be bothered. I know how you feel. Yeah, fine.
Yeah, listen, Kulusevski is a big part of it. We can't get away with it or get away from it, shall I say. You saw when he came, the difference he made. He allowed Son and Kane to do what they do and take a bit of the creativity away from them so they can focus on what they do best. And as soon as he went out, we then started playing with a striker that we signed to play the left or the centre, and we played him on the right. And overplaying him in a position he doesn't play at, he went and got injured. So then we got another thing. It's at the moment it's the whole goddamn thing. It's the whole goddamn thing. I've been thinking recently, if we didn't have Bentancur put in the performances he did for the last month and a half, where this could have been a lot worse. And Højbjerg, obviously, it could have been a lot worse. But I know we're going to talk about Forest as we have to. What I'm seeing now, and these stats that are coming out like this, 8 games since we scored in the first half, the 5th game in a row where we've gone 2-0 down in domestic competitions. Yeah. These are unacceptable stats, and there's no accountability for it. There's absolutely no accountability for it.
From anyone. Conte's talking about people are tired. Okay, fine. There is a World Cup going on. Games have been pressed in, but still, sure, something up somewhere. I know they can't. The defenders aren't good enough, with the exception of Romero. But he's injured, so the defenders aren't good enough because he isn't playing. But still, like Leicester, when they won the league, Wes Morgan's a terrible defender. He won a Premier League and hardly conceded a goal. It's about setup and attitude for me. The players aren't taking responsibility. Bentancur, Højbjerg, I think, aside. Kulusevski, when he came on. It's a complete chalk and cheese from the end of last season where we were free scoring, looking like we could beat anybody on our day. And if we got a couple of defenders in, I'm sure we'll come on to Levy. If we got a couple of defenders in and shored it up, then we'd be a match for absolutely anybody because we've got the firepower up top. Richarlison comes in, been there, done that, got the T-shirt in the Premier League, and it's all just fallen apart. I mean, it is obviously a lot worse because of what the arseholes are doing up the top of the league. If they were 5th or 6th or whatever, then we'd be a bit pissed off with us. But you know what I mean? But yeah, I just don't understand how it's gone from so good to so terrible all of a sudden. And like you say, no accountability, talking about tired players, players just ghosting through games. Is it this World Cup? I don't want to get injured. I'll put a 50% shift in, so I make sure I'm on that plane to Qatar.
Well, what I'm going to try and do this in the order of the things you mentioned.
Yeah, I do apologise, and I should say to anyone who's started, I waffle on a lot, so my question ends up being in War and Peace, and then people have to pick out the questions. But
yeah, Chris, listen, you're talking to me, king of the Levy round. Give me the mic for 15 minutes, and I'll end up somewhere I didn't begin. The accountability, like I say, listen. I don't feel Antonio Conte is going to come out and criticise the players on camera. He's not one of those managers like Tim Sherwood did against Chelsea when he started going. That's not going to solve anything. But things need to be done. How these players are still, I don't think they're being dropped because he has no options that he can trust. It's like, well, I don't trust you, but the other people that can't get into the team, I trust them less. Yeah. So I can't do that. The accountability, I don't know how long I've been on YouTube saying that, or how long I've been saying the accountability for this. It's right through the club. It's just like, oh, we got out of the cup. That means we've got less games, which means we go further in the Champions League and get more money, or we can focus on the top four and make more money, rather than, do you know what? This is a cup. This is a genuine cup we can win and appease the fan.
Especially all the London teams have gone out, so that's a few big hitters already out.
Yep, and in the next round, it's Liverpool, Manchester City, so one of them are going out. And I don't see how Tottenham Hotspur right now have the nerve to treat the cup in this manner when it's the last trophy we won, and it was 14 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, do we treat it in that manner? We did put out a strong team against Forest. They obviously rotated. So in terms of the strong team, you can't hold that against Conte.
No,
the attitude of the players was just. Ugh.
Yeah, that's what we'll get into, Chris, when we discuss Forest. Because, like you know, I arrived from Toronto on Wednesday, met up with Ryan Isaacs, who picked me up from the airport with Graham and his brother. Then went and met Ben and Simeon and Danny Kiriakou and drove up to Nottingham.
Oh, you went to the game?
I went to the game, so I was. Sir, I've got a lot to speak about with this game, but the attitude is what I'm talking about. Not the team, but the players that were on there, as in quality of player. I'm talking about the attitude, the total lack of. I'll get onto that. I'm just trying to remember what else you were saying. I can't remember, Chris. What else was you saying in that?
Neither can I. It was about 54 points ago, wasn't it? After my
I'm sure they'll all come up as we carry on.
Yes. Are these players putting 50% shifts in because there's a World Cup coming up soon?
So everyone's been saying that, but you got to think about it. Every team is going through this. This is why I think it's absolutely ridiculous for this game tomorrow. Now people know they're in the World Cup squad, not just for Tottenham. I mean, every country and every team. Do you think those players are going to go in 50-50s? Do you think those players are going to put their bodies on the line for their club when they know they're going to the World Cup? This game should not be happening. No. And they should have had yes, there's a week break, but this should not be happening because now all these teams have actually said, you are in my 26-man squad or whatever the squad is for the World Cup 25. If there's a 50-50, there's people that unless you are club before country, they tomorrow's game will be a farce.
Yeah, I was watching Sky Sports News before we came on, and Man City have players in the squads of Germany, Portugal, Spain, England, obviously. Although I don't expect them to do much. The final is on the 18th. They play Liverpool on the 20th in the Cup. I mean, it's just. This World Cup is rife. It's just ridiculous and just absolutely disgraceful. Gary Neville got off very lightly on the half hour that they showed on Have I Got News for You. Although Ian Hislop did say there is another choice you can make other than going and raising things or stay at home. You can stay at home, raise the things and not take the Qataris' money. But that's the biggest thing that he got. But although I have to say I'm looking forward to the World Cup because it means a month I don't have to Tottenham pissing me off every fucking week.
Oh, they will piss you off, mate, because Conte's contract, Kane's contract, transfer rumours.
I mean, they go on and on and on. Premier League, FA, FIFA, blah, blah, player health and everything like that. And then they've got a World Cup in the middle of the tournament, 9 games in October, 6 in November. 2 days after a World Cup final, which quite easily one of the big players for Liverpool or Man City or both could be in. 2 days later, they play in a big game, which could be that Carabao Cup, the decider of who wins that cup.
I mean,
just
also
absolutely ridiculous. This whole and my worry is it will be a big success, and we'll have a lot more of the money bag nations. Winning this and then having another midway through the season World Cup. But tomorrow's game, like you say, stupid.
I don't think that's going to happen. But also, when you talk about England, I can't believe Gareth Southgate has the nerve to say he's picking players on form, and then he picks Calvin Phillips, who has played 46 minutes of football all season. It's ridiculous. But that's England.
Well, he's picking players he trusts. He obviously did brilliantly for him in the Euros.
When he was playing every week for bloody when he played every minute for Leeds.
How you doing, Ian? Jay Ashraf, do you really think it's down to tiredness and players worn out by the poor results? Literally just spoke about that, which we'll be speaking about it a lot more as well, because let's move on, Brian. Out of the Carabao Cup, Forest put their reserves, a lot more reserves than they have been in the league, let's put it that way. We put out a fairly strong team. Kulusevski, Richarlison back on the bench, but Kane starting. Comes off after 59 minutes because he's fatigued. Why start him? Anyway, Moore was injured. But anyway. And another 45 minutes of absolute dross, 0-0. And then the second half, when we're generally quite good, 2-0 down in the first 12, 13 minutes. And I saw the goals, certainly the second one, the marking was, putting that goal and marking in the same sentence is being very fucking generous to our defenders. And it has passed 10 minutes. I'm allowed to swear now, and I'm very angry. So, but I know you went to the game. You got a lot to say about it.
I mean,
what are your thoughts on the Forest game going out of the Carabao?
Like the best part of that whole journey was having a road trip with Ben Simeon and Danny Kiriakou. That was the most exciting bit. We got to Nottingham. Really G'd up, thinking, this is the cup, I'm back, we can watch a game of Spurs. I was really looking forward to seeing us, really looking forward to and seeing this super second half Spurs, as people have been calling it. So, got in the ground, first half was just dire, just absolutely dire. Highlight for me was when Davinson Sanchez made an incredible tackle, tried to pass the ball, but hit it with the inside, curled it out of the touchline and back into play. And we were just very, very slow. It was just boring. And then Ben was like, Ben even said he was right. We shouldn't be booing at halftime. We should be cheering because we've had the first half over. That means we're going to play well in the second half. So we should stop the boos and cheer before time whistle, half-time whistle. And it got to 1 minute injury time. And I said, oh my God, why even bother? Can you just end it? Can you just end it at 45? Anyway, came out for the second half. The only person who did any good in the first half was Basuma, who really played well in the first half. Second half, of course, he turned out to be the exact opposite. The second half, I mean, this was categorically the worst football match or performance I've ever seen live. Ever. From Tottenham Hotspur. There is no passion. There is no desire. There is no commitment. There is no fight. There's no nothing. And
but they're things you associate with Conte. So has he lost the dressing room, or is it just the players don't give a shit and whatever Conte does? I mean, you could argue that 4 or 5 managers in the past haven't been able to get that, so it's to do with the players, not the manager. But these are things you associate with Conte. So has he lost the dressing room for you?
Do you know what it is as well? It's like I said to your stage, when you've got 4 managers that have to deal with Davinson Sanchez, Ben Davies, and Eric Dyer, and a lot of them didn't even start for that manager, but they're starting for this manager. It speaks volumes. The players simply aren't good enough. We've upgraded our managers. We've got Poch, we've got Jose Pitt, like him or not, elite manager, and now Conte. But the players are getting worse. The players aren't fit. There is just something that is not right. These players aren't good enough. And people are talking about January and saying we need a creative midfielder. we need 3 defenders just to start. Just to start.
I mean, at the end of last season from the Arsenal game, we had those 3 and we kept 2 clean sheets or 3 clean sheets. So they were playing. Yeah, they were playing quite well at the end of last season, and then all of a sudden now they're shipping goals. So for me, it's the attitude. The positive attitude of last season means there's less pressure on those defenders, which aren't good enough. Whereas now the negative play, which is inviting teams on constantly, is showing up those players' flaws because they're constantly on show. So for me, I just want to see a bit of a more positive play. Like that Man United away game, to me, looked like Conte sent them out with a do not lose mentality rather than, all right, okay, we'll play defensive because that's how he plays. I don't mind that. That's his kind of formation and tactics. But we're playing defensively, but this is how we're going to beat them. I didn't think there was any of that against Man United. It was, this is how we're not going to lose this game. And I think it's inviting pressure onto these defenders that are poor. Whereas last year at the end from the Arsenal game, we were attacking teams, taking it to them, which then takes a lot more of the pressure off of the defenders, and the complete switch in mentality, whether it's the players, and I don't buy the fact that Conte and the players are saying, yeah, Conte sends us out to attack and we're just not doing it as players. I don't buy that at all. I think, and no player is going to come out and say, yeah, Conte's lying. I just don't understand the complete shift and what we're seeing from the end of last season or January from last season. And it can't just be Kulusevski's injured for me. It can't just be that. And shit, we haven't got Kulusevski. We're fucked. Let's defend. I just don't understand what's going on. But yeah, sorry, I've interrupted you to.
No, Chris, you're right. Listen, it's not just Kulusevski. Richarlison got injured as well. And then I think you saw when you saw Lucas Moura come on, Kulusevski did more in 80 seconds against Liverpool than Lucas Moura did in the full 2 games he played last 2. And that's where we are. Lucas Moura is here, and that's what we accepted. Lucas Moura and Bergwijn, and then Kulusevski came and he was here.
Yeah.
And we realised just how much the golfing class is. Ironic that as soon as Richarlison starts coming back to fitness, some will pick up the injury. So now Richarlison can play there. We just, it's scattergun transfer windows, scattergun targets. The rumours are coming out in full force again that we're going for Max Aarons. Brilliant, because we haven't gone for him enough times. King and Jay, I think, whatever, or King Min Jay, whatever his name is. It's him. We're going for. We've had plenty of opportunities to get him, but now we missed the boat of getting him at a reasonable price. Now it's going to be. There's just. I don't believe the manager is having his choice in players. I just really don't, because these players aren't. Jose didn't get the ones he wanted. Poch wasn't backed enough. Is Conte getting everything he wants? I don't think so. And I understand there's some that he can't get. I understand that. But there is something we've got to do something. Listen, like I've said, and I've said this all along, I am as much Conte in as I am Levy out. But Conte has to be questioned in some of the things he's doing. Just because he is the manager, and just because he is elite, and just because he is on a huge wage, doesn't mean you can't say, I don't understand what Conte's done here. I don't know why he did that, or why is he not playing Spence. You can do that. People think if you say something bad about Conte, you're Conte out.
Yeah, that's what I got. But not saying out at all. He's still one of the best managers in the game. It's just you're allowed to criticise people. Let me get into some comments here. Quite a few come in. Jay Ashraf, how you doing, buddy? Same bunch of clown defenders with the addition of Royal that Jose couldn't get anything out of. I saw someone at Juventus has lost their mind because apparently Royal is their top target, which whether that's true. Sean in the chat, how you doing, Sean? And welcome home, Dag Golovic.
Big up, Sean, brother. Big up, my man. Big up, Spurs Talk Show. Sean, I'm going to text you my UK number now.
Yeah. And Wayne Bonner, always in the chat. How you doing, Wayne? Forest game showed that we need at least quality centre-backs in January. Lewis and Levy and Lewis need to cough up or piss off. 21 years, back-to-back managers. Time to start. And Yu Yon Kim Kim Min-jae got player of the month in his second month in Italy. Serie A, where the best defenders are. What a waste, absolutely. And Wayne again. Afternoon, Brian. Did a diamond. I did Dyer and Sanchez. I lost half my messages on WhatsApp. If I have your number, I'll message you later. But you can still question Conte. You can still question Kane. You can still question Son. That's what I got. Like, if you're upset with Conte, you don't want him in, which is not the case at all. For me as well, Kulusevski, I don't know how you feel about this, was a huge, huge miss. Stick Brian Hill in, because Brian Hill did exactly the same thing that Kulusevski does against Sporting Lisbon in the second half, just without the strength and the added quality. But it was positive. He was trying to put crosses in, trying to have shots, trying to make something happen, which too many of our players are turning back. And I put the point as well to Doherty. Doherty makes exactly the same runs as Emerson. I think Emerson actually makes quite good runs. Just when he gets the ball, he can't do anything with it. But Doherty makes good runs. Everyone turns around and passes it back. Whereas when Emerson's there, they can't wait to give the ball to someone who can't cross or do anything with it. So Doherty looks completely ineffective. But if people were looking up and playing how they do when Emerson is there, he'd get the ball a lot more. And you've seen from his time at Wolves in the season before we bought him, he has got an end product on him. So it's all mentality for me. Which you need a more positive mentality to cover up, as it were, the failures in defence until January, when we can buy some more, which we probably won't do. But Hill, why doesn't he get a Spence? I didn't watch the game. One of my friends got it on stream and said that first thing Spence did, run 50 yards.
Yep. First of all, I would have rathered. I'm making up words. I would have preferred. That's the better word. That's the better. I would have preferred if we'd done like the Filth and Liverpool and played a much younger team. I'd have loved to see the Alfie Divines, the Harvey Whites, the Flanagan Walcott or Walcott Flanagan, however. There's players in that team that I would have loved to have seen. Exactly, Brian Hill. Seeing that's what I'd have liked to see. Some youngsters come on and give it what they've got, so we can see what they've got to offer us. I mean, people know me and Alfie Divine like that, but very one way with me. With me, it's only a one way street at the moment. But I would have liked to see it. I really would have liked to see it. And you really thought. I kind of had a theory beforehand, but it's been blown out the water now. I got it wrong. I thought Spence weren't going to play because if he goes out and plays, he gets cup tied. And if a club who's looking to loan him sees he's cup tied, they may say, do you know what? We have aspirations for the Carabao Cup whilst we're still in it. Not saying he wouldn't get another club, but he came on. He did do. First thing he came on, and he did that against Manchester United. Do you remember? He got the ball and he just ran straight away. Yeah. He got a terrific ovation from when he came on from Nottingham Forest fans. Outstanding ovation. Really showed some respect there. And he just offered something. He offered something. Our fullbacks, and we have to remember, fullbacks are vital to Antonio Conte. Yeah. Absolutely vital. And none of them are good enough. No. Perisic on his day, Perisic has been underwhelming. He has really good moments and really good phases of games, but then I was expecting more from him. But these wing backs are a huge fundamental problem.
Yeah, Wayne Bonner here. Too many heads going down on the pitch when it doesn't go our way. Still relying on players who need quality to back them up. Goes on to say, would have played the likes of Tanganga and Hill against Forest rest players because this team will burn out as the season goes on. Ryan Isaacs, how you doing, buddy? Subscribing now. Thanks so much. And please, if you haven't subscribed and if you haven't, hit that like. From Ian, Hill, I thought against Premier League defenders didn't look strong enough. Spence's cameo was eye-opening. Forster saved us from the morning. We'll get on to Forster a little bit later. And I wanted to raise this from Mark as well. Can we just play some football that gets you excited, please, instead of the dross we keep tolerating? Conte said about the Leeds game, the fans have got to do their part. It's a 50-50 thing here. It's a two-way street. You do your part and give us something to shout about. Don't give us this crap that we're forced to endure, go 2-0 down and then have to play catch-up. Give us something. And this isn't just Conte. This is the players as well. give us something to cheer for you for, because we've heard at that stadium, when it's rocking, it's rocking. I know Arsenal was a different type of game and it's our rivals, but I've been to Man City games, been to other games that aren't in the top 4 or anywhere near. Give us something to be excited about. We'll get excited and cheer you on and make a lot of noise. Keep playing this crap. We are going to boo you. We are going to be quiet. We are going to get pissed off.
These are stupid things. These are the things that Conte shouldn't be saying.
Yeah.
Because and it's not just Conte. You look at our Spurs Twitter with "We go again, bigger, better, stronger." We learn from this. You're damn right. You know what?
8 games. That's a lie, isn't it? 8 bloody games. That's a lie. We learn from this.
The one thing you look at it. I've been very vocal about this in the last few weeks. Our wonderful away travelling support travel the length and breadth of this country, go overseas, spend hard money that they work damn hard for, put in all the overtime like Ryan, to make sure they have enough money to go and follow our beloved football team. We don't all have jobs. I don't have a job at the moment. We don't all have jobs that pay the most incredible wages, so they do anything they can. They sacrifice time with their family. They give everything at away games. Even when you come out and you put in those first half performances, Spurs fans are going into games going, well, first half's going to be dull. How do you get pumped up?
Yeah,
when they start off brightly, Chris, for the first 10, 15 minutes. Then they just go, okay, we've done our 10, 15 minutes. Let's just whatever they're trying to do. You can't say to the fans, do your job, or we need whatever the terminology you said, when those players aren't doing those.
Absolutely. And it's just, I get he's not criticising the players in public. I get that. But it's almost like saying, we're playing terribly in these first half because the fans aren't doing their job. And it's just, he's not saying that. That's not what he's actually saying. But that's how it kind of comes across in a way. That, you need to get behind us to give us a reason to play. But bollocks. If that's the case, you pay for everyone to go to the game and then we'll do whatever you say.
Correct. I mean,
so it's like you say, he's saying the wrong thing. He's saying the wrong thing. And he's been in England long enough now for it not to be lost in translation, I think.
Well, you look at it as well, Chris. All these games, all these stats, like 5 games, 2-0 down, 8 games, 8 scored in the first half. You look at it, these performances, I'm sick and tired of seeing Spurs social media and other things that have an influence. We have an influence, not as much as Tottenham Hotspur social media. But there's not been one ounce of empathy to the supporters. No. Not one. Oh, we learn from this. We do this. We do that. We're bigger, better, stronger. We go again. How about you say, sorry for that, or not sorry for that, but words to say, that's not right. We will, put some words in there to show some kind of empathy to what these. When I was in Scotland Yard on Sunday for the Liverpool game, I got chatting with a guy from Dorset Spurs, and he travels round trip 7 hours because he goes by public transport to go to every single home game. So you look at it. Yes, he pays a lot for his season ticket, but it's not like the people that live in London or the suburbs outside. He's then got to buy 19 or cup games and everything, return tickets to whatever part of Dorset he's in. 7 hours travelling there for 90 minutes of that.
Yeah.
And I remember with Holly Agenbar during the protest, travelled from Southampton, or I think to get to the game. It's great expense that we fans do this, and there's just nothing. There's no connection with the fans anymore. It's apart from can I have this?
But this is the way things are going. The rich are up there. It used to be kind of there with the poor, and now it's got further and further away. The rich don't give a shit about the poor anymore. And these football, some players will care, but it'd be nice for them to on their personal Twitter things to be saying stuff. But yeah, they don't care about the poor people who have to travel there and, have to go 9-to-5 jobs and everything, because it doesn't affect them at all. And there's such a divide now and such a massive, massive gap between the rich and the poor, I think. And I think that's just highlighting just that.
Yeah, you look at it. I mentioned some days. I forgot Ian's in the chat. Ian travels from Glasgow when he gets to go to games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He again. I don't know which mode of transportation he takes, but he gives up his time to travel from. Don't get me wrong. We all give up our time because we love our club, but he travels all the way from Glasgow to support his team and back to see performances like this at his expense, at his time. And Ian. And Ian's supported Tottenham for a very long time, has gone at times when football was affordable, when football was, and I'm sure, I don't know, I'm sure Ian did used to live more local, when it was more accessible and easier to get to. But he travels all this way and gets that. It's just, I understand we travel to games sometimes and we have a bad performance. But to do this regularly, and have it now as our MO, it's not acceptable.
No. And Colin in the chat. Great watch. I get ready for work. Thanks so much, Colin. How you doing? Mark Cousins. Been twice this year, once for South Dorset Spurs. Big them up. And regarding Colin as well, Talking Ball is his channel. I think he does most of his stuff on Hotspur Hood now. But make sure you check him out. Ian mentioned him, Forster. Look how cool that is. How do you think he did? He made a good couple of one-on-ones, had no chance with any of the goals, defenders deserting him in front. A lot better kicking than a certain other goalkeeper that we've got.
Do you know what?
How do you think he did?
I think it was man of the match for us.
And that highlights the problem, doesn't it?
He had a moment in the first half which was very, very shaky. Alistair Gold was talking about it this morning, where there was a defensive thing that Davinson Sanchez did, or it ricocheted, and then the ball ricocheted off someone and was going towards goal. And Foster looked at it and thought, oh, God, that might be a goal, and dived so late, but thankfully it hit the post and bounced out. But that was his only slip-up.
Yeah. That could be because he hasn't played, and that's just a bit of rust game scenarios.
Exactly. But he could do nothing with the two goals. Nothing. I mean, the first one was...
It was a good finish, but don't let him go inside. Show him down the bloody line. He wants to whip it in with his right.
Like, how much space would you like here? It's like, when you hear those Securicor vans reversing, it goes beep, 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 like the new car for your cab. I think that's what Spurs doing. They're going back and they go back and wait to hear the beeps. And that was shocking. And then the second goal. I mean, one person I need to talk about, because I've tried and I've defended him as much as I can, but Ryan Sessegnon, embarrassing. I saw a stat and a tweet. I wish I'd starred it or retweeted it. His goal contributions in the time he's been here, yes, he's been injured, are woeful. His crossing. If I was to say to you, Emerson has a better successful cross rate than he does. He does. We bought him from Fulham, and he looked like I was very excited by this transfer. He looked like someone that will take a player down the line, get his crosses in, cause problem. He is so worried about his body that he just runs, checks in, and slows it down, and then passes it off. I've tried defending him. I really have. But what I saw against Nottingham Forest, like many other players, was unacceptable. And I've tried to defend him, and I can't defend him anymore. I just simply can't.
I'm getting to that level. I'm not at your level yet, but I thought when Perisic came in here and helped him no end, but it hasn't really worked, has it? I mean, potentially he's very good, isn't he? Quick, direct, and scored quite a lot of goals and goal contributions at Fulham.
Yeah.
But Sporting Lisbon, he was completely out of his depth, I thought. And Emerson completely shored it up when he came on, which is a ridiculous thing to have to say. But the other part of that goal, the second goal, is there was a free header for whoever headed it to Lingard, and then Lingard's got a free header by not really making any movement, and there's no one within about 5 yards of both of them. I think Forster was the nearest to both of them.
Yeah, and don't forget Lingard.
Absolutely horrendous.
Lingard, we're talking about, and I knew I jinxed it straight away when we were in the car. Lingard did not have an assist or a goal all season.
He's got one each.
And hello, Dr. Tottenham. So yeah, I mean, what Ian's saying, Doherty and Sanchez. Well, Sanchez, again, he's another player I've tried to say in pockets of time. Like, if you need him for the odd game, he could do a job. He can't. Listen, Ian and I have our disagreements a lot about the ownership. But when we talk football, away from the ownership, we're very, very similar. Very, very similar. And I'm sorry, this whole defence, apart from Romero, needs ripping up, pissing off, and put. So before we even talk about let's get a creative midfielder, let's do this whole defence. I'm kind of like, I'm kind of the other school where it says if you don't concede, you don't lose. Simple as. Yes, our attack needs a bit more strength, so it can be rotated, and we can't rely on everyone to play every minute. Like Harry Kane, I thought will be rested more. But this defence needs open heart surgery, and it needs. But what needs to be done, and this is where Ian and I might disagree. It needs no more of this. Okay, we'll buy a player that has some potential and shown some glimpses.
It needs the Bastoni.
It needs to be
who like Conte
wants. And if we're serious with Conte, and we're serious, if Conte says, "Who do you want?" and he says, "I want this one, this one, and this one," you go and get at least two, no matter what. No matter what. Obviously, if they say 150 million for a defender, that's not what. But if this team says 80 million for Bastoni, you pay 80 million. You don't go 45 million and then we'll ladder it with bonuses. You say, how much do you want? Like Liverpool did with Van Dijk, like other players do, and say, how much do you want? Bang, there you go. There you go.
It ain't going to happen, though, is it, really?
No. No, it's not, but that's what needs to happen.
But in terms of the playmaker, I think getting a playmaker would solve some issues in the sense that it would allow us to have some creativity. So therefore, we would attack teams more because we've got someone who can open doors and everything like that. Like I said, take a bit of pressure off. But the Liverpool game, the second goal where Dyer's terrible pass back, I just wanted to ask you because I haven't spoken to you since the game. I had a little bit of sympathy for Dyer in one sense. Don't collapse and faint. I'll explain myself.
Yeah, you're going to have to.
In the sense that because we're so negative in terms of mindset, I think what that does is it allows players to shirk responsibility in the same way that Man United, the second goal, Bentancur just lets Fernandes jog past him, almost saying, I think, someone else will pick him up, not my responsibility, when it was your responsibility because you're in the midfield with him. And in terms of Dyer, it allows him to go, okay, I'll give it to Lloris, he can deal with it. Whereas if you're in a positive mindset, it's like, okay, it's my responsibility, I'll deal with it at source, and therefore he boots it out. Do you agree with that or not? And I don't want anyone to confuse with the fact that saying it was never Dyer's fault. Because if you are going to head it back, you make sure you fucking head it back. You don't shoulder it back straight into Salah's path. But do you think there's any kind of validity in the fact that defensive mindset allows players to shirk responsibilities rather than boot it out and take responsibility themselves?
Yeah, I mean, what I will say about that is I only got to see that later on in the evening because, ironically, at that time, precise time, I was in the Kazi having a dump. Kind of like what Eric Dyer did against Chelsea when he has to go to the toilet quickly. And then I just heard that, oh no, so I came out and saw it. He listen, but we went to a back three, and it's been Eric Dyer's best period as a time at Tottenham. And we did a back three, especially when it was Sanchez as well, to give extra security for these mistakes. It's sorry, that's not why we did it, because Conte does play this. What it did give us playing this way is some insurance. Should there be a slip up, there's two guys rather than one to try and support it out. I don't know, as a professional footballer, how you can mistime a header that badly. Like I still don't understand. If you remember Newcastle away last season, I don't know why I pointed over there because it's not there. But when we played at Newcastle, it was the first game of the new owners. Eric Dyer scored an own goal where he went down to head the ball, but somehow it hit his shin and went in. I don't know how the human body can get into that shape unless you're one of those guys that can bend your head over your leg over your head's extortionists. Oh no, not extortionists. What are they called? Those guys that can do all that double joint, whatever. These errors. There we go. There we go. Extortionists. That's Levy. Sorry, I was getting the two mixed up. So yeah. I don't understand how these happen. And you know what? It's happened since his England call-up. It's last season. These mistakes were ironed out. They were ironed out. He seemed to be firing. We seem to be seeing the side of Dyer that every single manager seems to think we see or is there. You can't keep making these. But again, I go back to this, Chris. Any other team you make these mistakes, like the Liverpool one and a couple he's made in previous games, the Newcastle one where he didn't get back on the line like he should have done. He was too busy trying to get the ref's attention doing YMCA. If other teams, you make these mistakes, Dyer, you're out. You're dropped. There's another defender coming in. It's your job to get that shirt back. Oh no, off you go. Play again. Why? Because there's nothing better.
But any possibility that it's a negative mindset making him try and head it back rather than sticking his foot through it with a positive mindset?
Listen, I don't think Conte's telling. I mean, Hugo Lloris the last couple of games since Newcastle hasn't really played with the ball. He's been booted it. I don't care. There's no way when you go onto a football pitch, I know the manager says do this, do that, where your instinct just kicks in and you're just like, if in doubt, kick it out. We're told that at grassroots.
Yeah.
If in doubt, kick it out.
Yeah.
That's simple.
I mean, it's also to be said as well that he was miles away from Lloris when he decided to head it back. Sorry, it's different if you're just outside, the D outside the 18-yard box. But he was miles away out. And fair play to Salah, he scouted what's going to happen. He's gambled. That's what all good strikers do. And then the finish was very good. But yeah, I don't know. I just think players are shirking their responsibility, whether that's because of the negative mindset, whether that's the players don't give a shit. It's something, I think, because Bentancur did it against Man United, letting Fernandes jog past him.
But it could be that they play so many games, Chris. It could be. Listen, I'm not accepting this just for Tottenham. You can't. I'm getting tired of this excuse because every team in any country that have got players that could potentially be going to the World Cup have had exactly the same as we have. This isn't just, poor Tottenham, they have a lot of players going to the World Cup. Every team has this issue, but they're dealing with it and addressing it, and they're able to make changes. Should a player have a bad game, it's like, right, you're being dropped. We cannot. We cannot do it. And it's the sad facts of the situation, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the World Cup. Dyer's in the England squad. Dear God.
Yeah.
I mean, you said either at the start of the show or off air, I can't remember which. Southgate said he was picking players who are in form, which I guess fair enough. Dyer is playing. Maguire's hardly started, whereas Tarkowski's not in, and he's done fairly well for Everton. And then we've got Kane is apparently fatigued. I mean, the World Cup is going to make it worse, certainly if England do a lot in this tournament, because he's going to play every game. Erling Haaland's not in the World Cup. He deserves a rest for a month. I don't think Mo Salah is either, but they've got De Bruyne, they've got Walker, they've got Foden, they've got this player, that player, Alexander-Arnold, a load of others. So, like you said, it's not just boo-hoo, Spurs players are going to be tired, but obviously Kane is our main man. Kulusevski maybe as well. He's not going, so that's obviously good. But yeah, thoughts on Dyer in England World Cup squad and thoughts of Kane is apparently fatigued.
I can understand that Kane could be fatigued because he hasn't been able to be rested. There have been games where he should have been. Yes, Forest being one of them. And he should have been on the bench if needed. We all said we needed strength in depth for rotation. We thought we had it, or people. Sorry, not people going. Oh, this is a great window. Look at what we've done. We've really strengthened. Look what's happening now. Kane has played pretty much every single game. I think he has played every single game.
He may have been rested if Richarlison was fit, but then that relies on us probably being comfortable in the game, which being that we don't start for 45 minutes means that that's not going to happen until later on in the game anyway.
Yeah, it's just is he going to be fatigued yet? But do you know what? When he gets to Qatar, like all the other players, they will be the adrenaline will kick in. It's a World Cup. I can't remember if Harry Kane was actually the captain for the World Cup. That part I can't remember he hasn't been captain.
I think he is England captain. Yeah.
What for the World Cup? Okay, probably he's been World Cup. He's been captain under Southgate the
He
whole
was
time.
for
So
the
you're right.
Euros, and I can't imagine
Yes,
Southgate's
I think you're
dropped
right
into
because he's been captain for England ever since Southgate came in. I think so. You may be right there, but listen, let's all pin our hopes on Calvin Wright Phillips because he or Calvin Phillips because he's only played 46 minutes of football. And we're picking players on form, and he's done really, really well in that 46. This is the thing. Calvin Phillips got the opportunity to work with Pep Guardiola. I understand that, but you were a hometown Leeds boy that loved that club. You knew, like Jack Rodwell and so many other players that go there.
Yeah.
You have gone for the money. You have gone for the money. But it doesn't matter because you've got. He thought it's going to enhance his England team. Was already a shoo-in playing for Leeds. He's played 46 minutes of football.
Yeah.
And
it's a real shame, but it happens, doesn't it? And any job in the, I get people, friends of mine who don't like football going, oh, they get paid too much. But if you have your job and your competitor says to you, I'll give you treble your wages, you're going to take it. You're going to take it. It's just when you do it in your job, you will be working the exact same amount that you worked before. Whereas in this case, these players allegedly want to play football and they're moving for extra money and playing no football, which is a bit of a shame. But put him in
Chris,
there. If he starts in the games, he hasn't played. I mean, James Maddison should be starting because he's been
100%.
terrific this season, and thankfully Southgate has picked him. It has moved from 23 players to 26, so if it was 23, whether he'd been picked, I'm not sure. But thank God he's on the plane.
Yeah. But the thing I will say with you, Chris, when it comes to what you were saying about Calvin Phillips, I've always been, when I was working at Booking.com before they closed it down for COVID, I loved my job. I loved that company with all my heart. I'm still heartbroken from it. And I had the best manager I'd ever worked under. If she told me that she's got a brand new job in blooming Greenland and she needs me to work for her, I would be literally on the next plane. I would literally do it. That's how good. But I love my job. I love the pay. And I went to work with a smile on my face and I left with a smile on my face. And I always said to my wife and to and anyone, I don't care if someone comes and offers me double money. I won't leave Booking.com. And the reason being, you can take the double money and you can hate your job. You can hate the people. And all this money may be good, but you're going to work. I know so many people, even my parents' friends, that go to work every day and hate their job. Hate it, but go to it because it provides. If I put it this way, if I played for Tottenham Hotspur, like Calvin Phillips did for his team, I don't care how much you offered me. I'm earning enough living. I'm a very rich man.
Yeah.
The only way you get me out of Tottenham is if my contract runs out or you agree a fee. And even if you agreed a fee, you would have to offer me the world to even think about trying to leave Tottenham Hotspur. And I understand they want to go and leave their career and try and progress. But when you know at Manchester City, it's very, very unlikely that you will, unless you're an elite player. It just puts a sour taste in my mouth. And now you go to the World Cup on the back of 46 minutes of football, when there's probably someone else. I mean, I haven't looked at the team that may have deserved to go instead of him. I mean, I don't know how Jordan Henderson's going.
Yeah,
he's
a leader in that team, isn't he? So Southgate is taking a few of the players he trusts. But I don't think those two will start. I mean, Declan Rice is obviously going to start unless he picks up an injury. Who will be with him, I'm not sure. Although Maddison can play a bit deep, can't he? And dictate a bit of play from there. So I don't think they'll start. But at least Callum Wilson is going as well. He deserves his call up. And what a impact sub to come on. Big, strong, quick, eye for goal, confident, good in the air. But in terms of Spurs, Mark Cousins here haven't moved on since prime Poch. Players like Dyer and Davies were fringe, now they're starters. I think that was because Poch was able to do things on a shoestring budget, and Levy has decided we'll still do it on a shoestring budget with managers who need more than that. I'm assuming Ryan is replying to that. Yes, in 2018. Yeah. And Kuva, the man who at the start of the season said the quadruple is still on, has been hit by the Tottenham bug. How much do you think we'll lose by tomorrow? Oh dear.
Yeah, I can't believe he's got Conte. I can't believe he's got Conte out, but it just shows he went with his and I'm not going to say the words.
Well, is that tongue in cheek? Because that other he's also put team out, so I think it's maybe tongue in cheek.
No, but I mean, what I will say is he said Edic out. I want to say, Kuva, your reverse psychology at saying big up that man lasted all of 2 weeks. With the reverse psychology, Kuva, I love you dearly, brother, and I'll reach out to you shortly. This is what it's doing. This is what it's doing. Unfortunately, this club is in a mess. This club is in a mess. And you know what? I'm just sorry. Before I forget, I wanted to talk because you mentioned Callum Wilson, and I've been saying this now. Ian Meth will remember if Ian's still in the chat. Bob Spur did a big show about Newcastle's owners when it was happening. I think you may have been on it, Chris. But we did it, and I want to say, do you know what? Forget Newcastle's politics and everything. I'm talking football. They have been absolutely brilliant. Do you know what they have done? If we look at this, how many league titles or major honours has Eddie Howe won? 0. How many has Conte won? A lot. How many world-class players has Eddie Howe managed and had to deal with? Big up, simply. Hardly any. Big up, Chris, brother. And how many has Conte? Loads. When he took over Newcastle, they were 19th and winless. We were 9th and still in cups. They have backed Eddie Howe with all that lack of experience with what he wants. And even when they wanted Maddison, they made 2 bids, not registered interest, not make an inquiry, not monitoring the situation. They made 2 bids. They were both rejected. And then Newcastle said, do you know what? You know we've got money. You're trying to play silly buggers. We ain't falling for this stuff. They are sitting 3rd in the Premier League. We get told, he needs 4 windows to clear it out. He needs 4 windows to get his... Well, why have Newcastle been able to do it in 1? 2 windows. They're 3rd in the league. And if you think Newcastle at 3rd in the league or 4th, depending on results tomorrow and Sunday, aren't going to go January, what do you need, Eddie? What do you bloody well need? And back him to the hilts. And I'm not talking the big 80, 90, 100 million pound player. Anything he wants, he's going to get. No questions asked. No questions asked. Man City will strengthen if they need to. The filth, the position there, it will strengthen. And we'll just play. We'll see what we can do. We'll see if the right player comes up.
I can't think that we won't sign any. I can't think that we won't sign anyone because we're in desperate need of players, and this World Cup is going to cause massive fatigue. But like you say, is it the players that Conte wants? I'm not sure, Wes. Newcastle, they've built him a team. We've got a bunch of players that have to go on the football pitch together and aren't cohesive, certainly at the moment. Anyway,
this is the case.
Newcastle remind me of us under Prime Poch. You know, everyone knows their job. Everyone in the squad knows the job of every player. So if one of those players has to come in, they know instinctively and intimately that job that needs to be done. And then you don't really lose anything by people going out because the shape and everything like that stays the same. Whereas we have Kulu that goes out, for example, we can't attack anymore. We have Kane that goes out. We've got no one to pass the ball. We have Son that goes out. We've got no pace up top anymore. Whereas if Newcastle have that, not a problem. He's got by the team, I mean the squad, not just the first 11. And
you look at it as well, Chris. Sven Botman, we wanted him. We're linked with him. Come in. No, we're not going to get him. Bruno, heavily linked with him. No, not going to get him. And they're doing wonders. They're doing wonders. And this is the situation we're in. Because we've stood still, other people have got stronger. The filth that obviously there's been that rivalry. Yes, we've been above them. And don't forget that we've been above them for 6 years and absolutely been slating them. Well, look at them now. Yeah. And then if they finish above us, they're gonna rightly banter the shit out of us, and we can't even say But yeah, we won this trophy.
Yeah. I'm very surprised by them. I'm really hoping that this World Cup completely derails their momentum in the same way that, half time comes at the wrong time in certain games. But Kuva here, too angry to keep the comic line going, Brian. Nothing but seeing Enoch go matters to me now. Simply Ace, how you doing, buddy? Problem with Enoch, they give the money to spend, but with lots of conditions, and that is the problem. That's why we're a complete circus. Yeah,
well,
I will say about Newcastle, they have all the money to get all their targets, but then we had that 150 million, which we've spent a little bit of. So yeah, just you want 60 million? We've got 60 million. Here's 60 million. But
yeah, I mean, in response to Kuva, and he knows this full well. Whilst I'm here, I will be doing everything in my power, to get what we were trying to achieve. But with a lot more people, a lot more impetus, a lot more things will be happening. Things will be happening. It just can't go on. It just cannot go on.
No. Well, we'll see what happens in January after the World Cup. But one positive thing, this guy, best photo I could find. He's back. Richie back for the Leeds game. So at least that's something positive in the attack. But Leeds at home now. How do we see this game going? We've obviously got a lot more players in the World Cup than Leeds have, with all due respect to Leeds. But their wins over Liverpool and then coming back to beat, I think it was Bournemouth.
Yep.
No mugs at all. And certainly with the Bournemouth, all right, we're losing. The game's dead and buried, but we've got enough about us, enough positivity and belief. We can get back into a game. Now they're playing against a team who don't attack. Every time I do this, how will the game pan out? It's hopefully we go off and attack, but we haven't done that in 8 games, so it's probably going to be unlikely. So what will happen is we'll wait until Leeds go 2-0 up, and then we'll start playing football. But Kulu, I would have said, has to start because he's not in a World Cup, so there's no fatigue with him. Because if he does get injured or gets tired, he's got a month to recover. Richarlison is Brazil's big player. I think he scored more goals since he got into the Brazil team than Neymar or some stat like that. So
only Neymar scored more.
Right, okay, yeah, but he's a big star.
Huge.
Kane obviously is England's main guy. Bentancur as well is in the Uruguay squad. He deserves that as well. He's been fantastic for us. Højbjerg for Denmark. Perisic for Croatia, Lloris obviously for France, Dyer for England as well. Do you see all of those playing? And again, how and for how long? And how do you see this game panning out in terms of approach from Leeds and Tottenham?
So who plays? And I'll be deadly honest. Don't know. Don't give a fuck. I don't. One I've been saying, Leeds. No matter what, even when they're doing terrible under Bielsa, the one thing the Leeds fans will always say is they tried everything. They have a way, they stick to it, they work as a team, they work as a unit. Yeah, it may not work sometimes, but the players can see what they're trying to do. They will always go. Those Leeds fans, especially the away fans, are a force to be reckoned with. I was saying to Ben and Simeon, do you know what? If there's one game at the end of the to send us off with a glimmer of hope during this break, just say, do you know what? It's the final home game before this weird break. Go out and just express yourself. Go like Harry Redknapp. Just go out and do your bloody thing and put some smile on the faces of Spurs fans and just go for it. Because you've got to remember, Leeds are the perfect team to do it against because they will come out and attack. Yeah, and they will attack.
That fills me with worry, though. Leeds are going to attack us. We'll sit back, play on the counter, and that worries me at all. A couple of comments, Mark Cousins. Is Richie back being good for us when we play 8 in defence anyway?
Correct.
Correct. Simply Ace has not read the memo, so he's positive. We will win 3-2 after going 2-0 down. Kulu Kane scoring the last 30 with Bentancur playing a key role. Bournemouth repeat. Kuva. I like Richie. Very disappointing for us so far. I think that goes back to what you were saying, Brian, playing on the right. That's not his natural position. And Simply Ace has now gone back to the negative. He's got the memo. Emerson will play no matter how shit he is. But in terms of Richarlison, what he does that I like, regardless of whether he's playing well or not, he'll run close people down, put himself about, and that kind of.
Will he put himself about though? Coming back from an injury just before that, do you reckon? Don't get me wrong. If there's anyone on that pitch that will give the effort, Højbjerg and him. Højbjerg and him will.
In terms of Kuva's comment, been disappointing for us so far. In general, he'll put himself about, and that will create momentum and potentially contagious for the rest of the team to put themselves about and close people down and be a bit more quick. But I mean, we spoke about this earlier. Is anyone going to put more than 50% in this game just before the World Cup? But in general, Richarlison does that.
Yes, he does. He does. And this is the thing. Well, what you got to remember is the mood within the fan base. Again, we're divided, and we're divided about one thing. Or no, you can add Conte into that now because there's people saying Conte out. There's always about that, but you know what the main thing is. You know where this main divide is, and it's not a happy place at Tottenham Hotspur right now. No. I think a lot of people are waking up. I don't say waking up because that's quite rude, but realizing that this transfer window was not what everyone was making out to be. What's up, Brahi? Shabbat Shalom. People are working out that this window is not, or the window was not what we were led to believe, was not successful. And we go a goal down or start slow, that place is going to go a little bit. I mean, I've seen it. I've been retweeted every one of them, funny enough, where there's quite a few people on Twitter saying there's got to be Edic out or Levy out, shouted and screamed at that game tomorrow. And I, as you know, me being very misunderstood, make sure that I embrace this. They've got to come out and do something, because if that first half is anything like what we've seen and 0-0, it will be bad. If it's 1-0, 2-0 down, whatever, it's going to be terrible. And people have got to stop. I'm hating the media saying that these boos are solely for Conte. They are most certainly not. When I go to football, and I have booed before, and all the fans have the right to boo. They paid, like I said, hard-earned money. They have the right to voice their opinion. It could be the manager that people do it. It could be the players. It could be the performers. It could be the ref, or it could be the board and the owners. Those boos are not for Conte, or not solely for Conte. I can guarantee you that. But the media will have their spin and blah blah blah. And yeah, this has got that first half has got to be something. Has got to. I mean, the whole performance has to, but they best not, for their own sakes. If Conte says, like you said, we really need the fans to do their job. If you don't do yours on that pitch in the first half, then you're asking for trouble. You are asking for goddamn trouble. So
just show a bit of desire. You can concede goal maybe, but show a bit of desire and show a bit of willingness to play for that shirt and willingness to do because we're not seeing any of that at the moment. And
most importantly, Chris, I've been to. I was at the game when Jimmy Greaves died. The day I met you, we went to Spurs Chelsea 3-0.
Chelsea, wasn't it? Yeah.
And you would have thought on that day that would have been in there as a mark of respect. Let's do this for Jimmy. Let's do this for the greatest. And it was a whimper. Then against Newcastle, we had the forgetting about Bill Nicholson. That would have been enough. Tomorrow is a very special day, for all the clubs. The minute silence for the people that fought for us to still have our liberty and live our lives and have the luxury and the pleasure of going to watch football. Go put on a performance for all those people that have sacrificed their lives for you to earn hundreds of thousands of pounds a week and live the life of luxury. Go put on a performance for the Spurs fans that have given their lives and all the people. Do not put a whimper, because if you give a whimper on this day, it will disgust me. Absolutely disgust me.
Again, that's what I was saying earlier. The divide between rich and poor now. I think you're rich. Not everybody, but a lot of these celebrities, they're rich, so they don't care about what came before because they just care about themselves. Maybe harsh to say that, and I'm sure it's not everybody, but that's just how it seems at the moment. But a couple of comments. Kuva, Chris, can you put together a 45-minute card trick routine for Saturday and we can just watch the second half? I can't, but if you go on here, Chris's Magic, they're probably all the videos all together, back to back, probably add up to about 45 minutes. Zach, Football TV, how you doing, buddy? What's the crack? What's the bleeding story? Do not get us started again. It's already been an hour, but essentially, Spurs are crap is a story. And Simply Ace, any other players saving themselves for the World Cup, they should not play. Don't care who it is. But I mean, if that's everyone in the World Cup, we haven't got the squad to be able to do that. But yeah, predictions for the game. I'm usually positive, saying we'll win at home, but I won't give a score. But I'm not sure anymore. I can see it being a draw. Them winning the first half, us winning the second half. And yeah, Nick. Or Barry, Vanjit, whatever his name is this week. Only thing I'm looking forward to tomorrow is being with Mr. Bagel, and that's it. But yeah, how you doing, Nick? But yeah, I can see it being a draw or us losing. I'm always, but I will say I think we'll win because I can't go against Tottenham. But at this moment in time, all the optimism has kind of been like Kuva with his first comment on the show. How much are we losing by? All the optimism has just been completely shot out of me by what we've seen in the last 2 months. But what are your predictions for the game?
So before I touch on predictions, just with Nick. Nick is one of the most positive people you could ever meet. Honestly, it is a blessing to have him in my life. It's a blessing to call him a friend of family. And to hear him so deflated recently about this, it sickens me to my core because this is what's happened. And like I said, when I fight for this bloody parasite to get out, it's not just because of the shit on the pitch. It's because the way the fans are treated and neglected and expected to pay all these high prices for everything and get nothing in return. It's because he's wiping out our history and not respecting people like Bill Nicholson, which is one of the most... If I was to give my top 5 of things that I hate about him, that is going in there. That was only a couple of weeks ago. So it's ridiculous. But one of the things I've been saying recently is we go on these channels, and I go on a lot of them, and we always do these prediction things. And at every single time, do you know what? There's never been a better time to play that team. This is the time. We're so much stronger. We're going to win. We're going to win. I'm stopping that. When I say there needs to be accountability for the players, I need to take accountability and stop saying, "Oh, we're going to win, we're going to win, we're going to win," because we're not. We're not. Mate. If you gave it to me right now, if you said Tottenham Hotspur draw, I'd bite your hand off for it. I would bite your hand off for a draw. I really, really would. I can't see us winning it. I just cannot, with the way we're playing, the lethargic manner we're playing in, the no desire, passion, commitment, fight. I can't see it. I just can't, and I'm refusing now to say I win and then be deflated when I can say I hope for a draw, and if we win, I'm happy. Yeah, so I'm going for the best to draw.
Yeah, I mean, Simply A said 3-2 earlier, but he's been shot down as well by the crap of the club. 2-2 now, not 3-2. Kuva, simply have no belief in the team, manager, director, football and owners. Where the hell is my club? Lose 2-0, draw 2-2, not actually sure. I'm care. Mark Cousins, to be honest, more interested how my local side gets on against Gateshead. And Ryan, full-time. Spurs, 4-0, playing sexy football after this.
Yeah, okay, right.
Yeah, but I mean, this is what it's come to, you know, back under Poch, even when we were poor, I thought we'd win because we tried to win games and, you know, we didn't lose games out with a whimper apart from the odd one here or there, which every team does. But on the whole, it was always attacking, always trying to win games. Whereas now it's almost trying not to lose games. And I just don't understand how that's changed so much since the end of last season, where we really looked to be building something and looked to be... We had the best front three in world football, in my opinion. Yeah. All of a sudden now, we don't look like we're going to get them in the game at all. Obviously, Son's injured. Ryan probably lose 2-1. But yeah, there's not really much else to say, is there? Just completely deflated. And I hate this World Cup. It's a disgraceful World Cup to have and all corrupt and everything. But I'm looking forward to it because it means a month off of Tottenham. games, a month off of Tottenham playing terrible football and me having to watch and talk about it every week and repeating myself, why are we playing so crap in the first half again? So it's just, that's what it's come to. That's what it's come to. They've completely deflated me that I can't confidently say we'll win. And I'm looking forward to a diabolical World Cup that's been put on and all of the shit that goes along with that. And that's what it's come to. And will it change? Been saying that for 8 weeks and it hasn't yet. So I don't really know what else to say. It's probably a good time to end there, to be honest. But yeah, Kuva, spot on. Wasn't going to watch the World Cup for the same reasons. Now I'm looking forward to it so I can watch some football. And Chris Agenbar agrees about the World Cup. I think a lot of people agree about the World Cup. But yeah, we'll probably end it there. There's not much else to talk about. Otherwise, it's just going to upset us even more. But thanks to everybody in the chat and all your comments. Really appreciate it. Really helps the channel and really makes the show. And Simply A says, great show as always. Thanks for watching and getting your comments in as always. If you haven't done already, hit that like, hit that subscribe and a notification bell. If you like a bit of magic, Chris's Magic on YouTube. And for Kuva and anyone else, 45 minutes, probably the total cumulative length of all the videos so far. So you can watch that instead of the first half. And then when you've done all that, get yourself over to Tottenham on Tour, where you'll find Brian and Danny and Ben and
Ryan.
And Ryan, and I knew I missed someone. Apologies, Ryan. You're a new addition there, so it's not me. I've just missed the memo. Anime. Okay, I'm just going to stop saying names now before I insult other people. But make sure you get over there, hit the like, hit the subscribe, notification bell, and Brian will now tell you what you can expect in the next coming weeks, months, etc. Yeah,
obviously, I mean, we've had a bit of a hiatus because of personal reasons and everything. But the good thing with me being back here in London is I'm on the same time zone as Danny, Ryan, and Ben, and only 2 hours out from Amir rather than being 5 or 7 hours behind. So there is going to be a lot more coming. We might do something very short today, live or pre-recorded, undecided. May do or may not do, but we will be back regularly. We're not going away this time. During the World Cup, Ben and I have had a couple of ideas that we're going to try and thrash out and work on to have a bit of light-hearted fun, as opposed to with all this talk of the World Cup and what's going on at Tottenham, we're thinking like, when Brexit was going on and Sky News brought out a channel where you could watch something and it didn't mention Brexit at all. We were kind of going to try and do something like that, but just talking about Tottenham past, Tottenham, just like little bits of fun and questions and ask us anything might be back. So yeah, there will be a lot coming from us. So check us out on Tottenham on Tour, please. That's where you can find us.
Excellent. And yeah, Brian's Twitter handle is in the description, as well as Tottenham on Tour's link as well, and essentially the website, because it's on YouTube. So yeah, make sure you check them out. Hit like, subscribe on here, notification bell. Then go over to Chris's Magic, do the same there, and then on to Tottenham on Tour. And yeah, hopefully 2 of those channels at least will have some positive stuff to talk about over the weekend or on Monday in my case. But again, like we've said, it's very difficult to see where those good times and positive stuff are coming from at the moment. I mean, the positive thing will be after 90 minutes, there's no more Spurs for another month. That'll be the positive thing. Hopefully there's a win before that as well. And it's just, it's sad, though, when you're quite positive about Tottenham and then you're drawn down to this negative level. Kuva in the chat, Nick, like you said as well, I'm sure yourself, myself, and plenty of Simply Ace as well. And it's just, come on, Tottenham. Give us something to cheer for and give us some optimism for the rest of the season. And with that being said, we'll head off back on Monday, 7:30 p.m. Let's hope it's a positive show. And with all the strength I can muster, come on, you Spurs.
And as always, Levy out.
Thanks so much for watching. For everybody who joined in the live chat and added comments, before you go, please leave a like and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Also, please hit that notification bell. That'll give you a notification every time we're about to go live, and it's all completely free. For those who missed the live show, you can catch this whenever you want on Let's Talk Tottenham's YouTube channel. Please also hit the like, subscribe and notification bell, and everybody please leave feedback, comments, suggestions in the comments section on the YouTube videos. For those of you who listen to the audio podcast, thank you so much for listening. Anyone who wants that audio podcast, you can pick that up wherever you get your podcast from. We're back Mondays 7:30pm UK time and Fridays 12:30pm UK time. Alternatively, if you go to Twitter at Talk Tottenham, Instagram Let's Talk Tottenham Podcast, you'll find all the information there. Anyone who wants something a little bit different, also do a magic show. So I do one trick a week, which drops Wednesday 7:30pm UK time. Chris's Magic on YouTube is where you'll find that. But in the meantime, come on, you